In our next session, Pinnacle will take the participants through a journey to show how they can leverage intention to be a more engaging, influential, and confident communicator, and how their words, attitude, body language, and delivery are perceived by and can influence others. Influence emotion, motivate action. Please join me in welcoming Dave Lewis, co-founder, Pinnacle Performance. Dave.
Thank you very much. If you'd all do me a favor, you've got a sheet of paper on your tables. Looks a little something like this. You can use that to follow along today. As he said, my name's Dave Lewis, but before I begin, I want to share some numbers with you. Now, having sat here for the last couple of hours, I think a lot of these numbers might resonate. 37%. That's how many people leave their job due to poor leadership. Number one reason, they can't get along with their boss. 70% are disengaged with their work. 77% would work harder with better recognition. I know we've heard that. 50%. Can I get a show of hands? How many people in here are at the manager or leadership level and have direct reports? Over half your time every workday is spent in meetings. 91%. Rule number one in the Pinnacle method: if your audience is bored, it's your fault. Right? My name is Dave Lewis. I am the CEO and co-founder of Pinnacle Performance Company and the co-author of the hopefully soon-to-be best-selling book, The Pin Drop Principle. Pinnacle is an award-winning communication skills training firm that is based on acting techniques. But I don't teach acting. And we merely use the same techniques and methods that actors have used for centuries in order to influence emotion in their audiences and get them to react the way they want. We brought that into the corporate arena. Prior to launching Pinnacle over 10 years ago, I started my career on Wall Street, eventually got into high-tech and software in the Silicon Valley, usually in executive-level sales and marketing positions. So those numbers I had it before, they resonate a lot with me. But I've also been acting professionally since 1988, both on stage and in front of the camera. Pinnacle is a global company, as I mentioned. We train in over 40 countries, a Fortune 500 list of blue-chip clients like many of you in here. We win awards year after year for innovation, and we only do one thing. Now, I tell you that about the innovation because for hundreds and hundreds of years of communication skills coaching or training, for someone to come along and win an award in innovation, I must tell you we do something different. So, enough with the propaganda. What is that one thing that we do which is so different? Well, it's the Pinnacle method. Now, before we delve into these 3 steps, my goal for you at the end of this session is to make sure that you internalize this. So, regardless of the conversation, the forum, the situation, professional or personal, one-to-one, large groups, good news, bad news, doesn't matter what your role level is, that you take this methodology and you start applying it in order to get your audience to react the way you want. So, with that, step 1 of the 3-step process. Analyze your audience. Now, hopefully this will become so ingrained over time that this will be easy. But when we say analyze your audience, what do you think that means? Understand them? Yeah, I certainly want to know who I'm speaking to, the individual or the group, but I want to know more than that, right? Absolutely, the demographics, the age group. I want to know, are they an adversary or a friendly, an expert, a novice? Yes. Are they awake? Right? I want to know as much as I can. Have I brought them some sort of content in this interaction before, and have they reacted a certain way? You see, the art of communication is getting people to change their behavior or reaction about something regarding an objective you may have. So it would be a good idea if I knew where I was starting. Agreed? Okay, step 1, analyze your audience. Step 2, understand the objective that you want to accomplish in this interaction. What do I want to have happen? I want you to give me more funding. I want you to give me a job. I want you to be more motivated during this time of culture change. I want you to pick up your toys off the floor. I'm very familiar with that one. But let me ask you a question. If you don't know your objective, you think our audience knows? Not very clear, will it be? No, so we need to make it clear, what is our objective? What do we want to have happen as a result? So now we've got the first two steps. We know who our audience is. We know what we want from them, yes? Now, how do we get it? By modifying our intention. How do we deliver our message so clearly so that our words, our voice, our body language all tell the same story so that you feel the way you need to in order to do what I want? And we do that by communicating with intention. We're going to spend a little bit more time on that. Analyze your audience, understand your objective, modify your intention. Now, to demonstrate this quickly, I want to show you a brief video. This is a video of a politician in the United States. His name is Phil Davison. Has anyone ever heard of Phil Davison? Okay, we've got one in the back. Well, let me set the background for you. Phil is running for, or was running for Treasury in Stark County, Ohio. Now, before we show the video, let's review that three-step process. He's going in, he's announcing his candidacy. If we analyze his audience is who? Bunch of potential voters, yes? Okay, step two, objective. What do you think he wants to have happen as a result of this? Yes, I want you to vote for me, so I win. Good. For me to vote for him for treasurer, what is the intention he needs to convey? How do we need to feel about him? Trustworthy, confident, credible, impressed, yes? Educated. Great. Let's look for those three keys as we look at the first 60 seconds of Phil Davison announcing his candidacy.
My name is Phil Davison, and I am seeking our party's nomination for the position of Stark County Treasurer on November 10th. November of 2010, excuse me. In terms of my background, I am from the village of Minerva, where I'm serving my 13th year of elected service as a Minerva Council member. In terms of education, I have a bachelor's degree in sociology, a bachelor's degree in history, a master's degree in public administration, and a master's degree in communication. In terms of elections across Stark County, I have represented our party twice on the county ballot in both the primary and the general elections when I ran for Stark County Clerk of Courts in 1996 and Stark County Commissioner in 2000, and I will not apologize for my tone tonight. I have been a Republican in times good, and I have been a Republican in times bad.
You get the picture. The answers to the two obvious questions: no, he did not win. And yes, this is real. It's very real, okay? The train definitely fell off the tracks, okay? Now, we're going to break down his communication style in a second, but first, this led to some crazy notoriety, his 15 minutes of fame. In fact, he was on Fox News, Tosh.0, he had his own Super Bowl commercial with Volkswagen. He literally is a YouTube sensation, millions and millions of hits across numerous sites. I promise you, if you Google right now, worst speaker ever or worst speech ever, Phil Davison comes up. And depending on what country, and I think even here, he's number one, right? So there's a reason that comes up, yes? Well, we're going to break it down, but before we do that, I want us to real quickly go over the last two steps of the three-step process. Understand your objective, modify your intention. And as a review, objective, this is what we want. I want them to vote for me. Intention, this is how I'm going to get it. I'm going to engage them, reassure them, instill trustworthiness, etc. Okay? Intention. Think of intention as a verb, right? One word that guides your action and informs your delivery. I want to excite the CEO so that she what? Signs off on my proposal. I want to reassure the CFO so that he what? Approves my budget request. I want to motivate our young employees so that they what? So they work harder and are more productive. I want to warn my daughter to pick up her toys so that what? So that she gets to keep her toys, right? So, intention and objective. If there's one thing that I want you to remember today outside of that three-step process, that is it, intention and objective. Now, it's easy to say, okay, I know what I want, and here's how I'm going to get it, but how do we just wake up every day and go, you know what, I'm going to put all this delivery together to make you feel the way I need to? Well, it starts with what we call intention cues. All the things we do with our words and our voice and our body language put together in order to convey that emotion in our audience so that they hopefully do what we want them to. Now, there are literally hundreds of intention cues. We break it down into an easy three we call face, base, and pace. Now, if we talk about face, that's everything that's going on up here, okay? Consistent eye contact, varied facial expressions, smile, and personality. Why do you think eye contact is so important, whether it's one-to-one or a large group? What's one good reason? To build trust, to make a connection with your audience, establish credibility, right? How was Phil Davison's eye contact? I was darting all around, right? Up, down, up, a little bit nervous, all over the place. How about smile and personality? Did Phil have a good smile and personality? Why do you think it's important to instill your personality and have a smile during your normal business day? To make that connection. We saw those percentages earlier, right? How many people are disengaged with their work? They don't feel recognized enough, don't get along with their boss. You know, many of you have probably read up on the likability factor, Malcolm Gladwell and many others. But if you come across as likable, I'm more likely to do what you want. And conversely, if you're unlikable, I'm going to do the opposite. In this case, I'm not going to vote for you, all right? Good. Let's look at base. So base, that's everything. Let me get up here for this part. That's everything up here. We're talking our body language, our gestures. Okay, real simple. Our home base, our feet are shoulder width apart, hands relaxed at our side, my spine is nice and straight, chin is even with the ground. Yeah, this seems so mediocre, right? It seems so not important. But let me give you an example. Let's say I came up here earlier and when I introduced myself and I said, my name is Dave Lewis, I'm the CEO and co-founder, et cetera, et cetera. If I made one change to my home base, would my credibility, my expertise, my likability, would it change? I can still be engaging up here, but what if my body language told a different story? What if I started out like this? My name's Dave Lewis. I'm the CEO and co-founder of the award-winning communication skills training company. We're in over 40 countries, right? Does my body language tell a different story? Yeah. How did that guy write a book? That's what I'm thinking, right? Let alone on communication. So, good, strong home base, posture, effective gestures, right? Little things that you may or not have been told, but gestures need to be spontaneous, direct, right? Whether we're describing something, whether we're prompting our audience, whether we're emphasizing, right? Gestures generally below the waist, considered weak. Now, why is that? Well, imagine when you communicate, you're on a television, and all the action starts right here. And then when you take your audience outside of that screen, it had better support your message. Because if it doesn't, I'm suddenly not 100% engaged with what you want me to do. So if I continue, we have offices all over the world. We've built a who's who list of blue chip clients, and all we do is one thing, right? It's a really great session today. You're going to love it. Don't forget about the book, right? All this is going on up here, and maybe I still have lots of you engaged, but half of you are going, you know what? Something interesting is going on down there, and I want to see what happens next, right? So I lose you up here. Phil Davison, how are his gestures? Anyone get this one? 13 years of elected service. right? Good. How was his home base? Oh, he was like a caged lion, right? Just mean. Facial expressions. Yeah, this is how I'm going to get you to vote for me. Yeah, right? No, a little bit different. That's not going to work. So, let's take a look at pace. Everything that comes up here with regard to your vocal delivery. You're reducing your nervousness. Now, the average human thinks at a rate of 400 to 500 words per minute. It's really fast. I've got a free copy of the pin drop principle for the first person who can tell me the optimal rate of speech. How many words per minute? It's close enough. It's between 100 and 150, so that almost is exact, right? Give that to her. So the challenge is, we think so fast, we want to get to so many things, we're going fast, I got to get to this point, I'm running out of time because I only got 30 minutes, I got to do this, so I'm bouncing around, I fill it, all those ums and uhs and ands and all these verbal viruses are getting in there, and I don't know what I'm going to say, I'm trying to figure it out, but then I skip something because I was going so fast, that suddenly my audience walked out there going, I don't even know what just happened. I don't know what's the most important part of that message. I certainly don't know how I'm going to feel about it. So, we need to treat our voice like a roller coaster, always moving, okay, up and down, fast and slow. Now, to demonstrate this with all of you, I'd like you all to take a second and stand up. I want to borrow an exercise from my good friend Ken Blanchard. Any of you know Ken Blanchard? Okay, his son and I were fraternity brothers in college, actually. And he does a study with regard to leadership and communication and how it ties in, okay? Now, here's the exercise. I want you to greet your neighbors. But when you greet them, I want you to greet them as if you've got a million other things on your mind, a million other places you'd rather be. Quite frankly, you don't even care about them. And let's just see what your face, base, and pace looks like. So just take a 30, 60 seconds. Introduce yourself to your colleagues. Again, not a care in the world. You're not really interested in how they feel or anything like that. All right, excellent. Excellent. Good. Quick. First observations. Remain standing. We're going to do this one more time, a different exercise. First observations. Face, base, and pace. What are some of the intention cues we saw or noticed? No eye contact. Good. What else? Limp handshakes. Fast greetings, right? Yeah, right. Disengaged. Real quick. No smile and personality. Great. We're going to do this exercise one more time. Now, this time when you greet your neighbors, I want you to greet them as if they're a long-lost friend or colleague. You haven't seen them in years. They may have even been a mentor previously. You were so excited to see them and catch up. Let's see what that does to your intention cues. All right, all right. Doesn't take long to figure this out, right? Go ahead, have a seat. Have a seat, thank you. Yes, you don't need to be a rocket scientist to figure out what just happened there, right? Now, we talked before about we don't recognize our employees well enough. We don't commend them when they deserve to be commended. In fact, many times we might just walk by and just go, good job. And they're like, whoa, I spent all year on that, right? So we need to make sure we do a better job. Even if it's greeting, we got to pay attention to our intention cues and understand, how do I want this person to feel as a result of my delivery? Now, anyone ever heard of Albert Morabian? Widely recognized for his studies in communication, and perhaps his most famous study, he says that when you deliver your message to your audience, they're going to formulate their opinions about you, your message, perhaps your organization, based on three things: the words, how I sound, and my body language and appearance. And he says that when your message is incongruent, meaning your words, voice, and body language are not telling the same story, or in our words, your intention is not clear, then they will default to one of these three areas to form the basis of their opinions and judgments. This study adds up to 100%. Question for you, what percentage will default mostly to verbal, the words? What percent will fall mostly to vocal, how I sound? And what percentage will default mostly to body language and appearance, the visual? It adds up to 100%. This is on your one sheet if you want to try and fill it in and take a guess. Does anyone have any guesses up in their head now? 7, 23, and 70. Okay, anyone else? 20, 30, 50. Anyone have anything radically different? 10, 20, 70. Not bad, not bad. Verbal, 7%. Vocal, 38%. Body language, 55%. In short, 93% of my audience's perception will be based on the delivery of that message and not the actual message, when my message is incongruent. Yet we'll spend 4 or 5 hours putting our meeting or presentation together and not 1 minute rehearsing it. Something to think about. I asked myself, Phil Davison, what if he learned only what you've learned in the last 20 minutes? What if he understood, these people are going to vote for me, how do I need to make them feel? If that's all he knew, would things have been different? We found this video. It's a different kind of Phil Davison. Take a look.
Ladies and gentlemen of the Stark County Republican Party Executive Committee, good evening. And thank you, not only for your attendance, but for allowing me the opportunity to appear here this evening and speak. My name is Phil Davison, and tonight I'm seeking our party's nomination for the position of Stark County Treasurer, which will be held in November of 2010. In terms of my background, I'm from the village of Minerva, Ohio, where I'm currently serving my 13th year of elected service as a Minerva Council member. In terms of my educational background, a bachelor's degree in history, a bachelor's degree in sociology, a master's degree in public administration, and a master's degree in communication. In terms of elections across Stark County, I've represented our party twice on the county ballot. The first time when I ran for the position of Stark County Clerk of Courts in 1996, and again when I ran for the position of Stark County Commissioner in the year 2000. And as you know, I will not apologize for my tone tonight. I've been a Republican in times good, and I've been a Republican in times bad. Albert Einstein issued one of my favorite quotes in the history of the spoken word, and it is as follows: in the middle of difficulty lies opportunity. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Gary, David, and Pinnacle Performance. Go Pinnacle.
We fixed him. It didn't even take that long. If anyone wants to hear the whole story about Phil, feel free to come talk to me at the networking hour and whatnot, and I'll be sure to fill you in. Real quickly, review of the 3-step process. Step 1, analyze your audience. Not just who are they, but what's important to them. Are they a friendly, an adversary, expert, novice, etc. Step 2, understand your objective. If I don't understand it, my audience will not understand it. And step 3, really focus on how I need to make them feel with my delivery and make sure my intention cues all tell the same story. As you leave here, and we're going to put up our website here in a second, I'm going to give you access to what we call a secret link. So you'll scroll down to the bottom of our webpage in the lower right-hand side there. If you click on that icon, there's a secret link to some of the great speeches and presentations of all time. From business leaders to politicians to world leaders to entertainers in film, all with a common thread: objective and intention with a clear delivery. So, with that, I want to thank you. Before I let you go, I've got one more little surprise for you.
Hello, HRO Today Forum. My name is Phil Davison. I hope you are enjoying your time in Amsterdam learning the Pinnacle method. I just want to make sure you remember 2 key items as you leave here today. Number 1, intention, intention, intention. If your words say one thing, but your voice and body language make you look like a raving lunatic, your audience will not react the way you want. Take it from me. And number 2, the 3-step Pinnacle method. Know your audience, understand your objective, and communicate with intention. Trust me, if it can work for me, then it can definitely work for you. So focus on your intention, be confident, and have fun.
Phil Davison, everybody. All right. Last but not least, thank you very much. Our website's up there. Rachel Toe is in the back. Rachel, if you raise your hand, she's in charge of European and Middle Eastern operations for Pinnacle. We're happy to talk to you about anything you want later on. But as a special thank you, on the back side of this one sheet of paper is a gift. It is a free virtual coaching package. We do workshops all over the world, but one of the things we're known for that no one does is virtual coaching. Take a look at it. It's a €375 value, absolutely free, no strings attached. Talk to us later. We'll tell you all about it. Thank you again. I think my time's up.